Alright guys, I'm going to do a quick video here on archery tournament that I've got coming up, and thought I'd go over some of the things that I have had to do for it. As you can see, I'm growing the beard because it's archery season as far as hunting goes. The old Wisconsin tradition is you have a beard when that hunt starts. Actually, my hunts are going to start in August, and today is mid-June, something like that. So I'm looking forward to those hunts for sure. But I've got to go to Arizona and work next week, and then when I get back, Brooke and I are going to go up and do a mountain archery fest 3D tournament in the mountains up at the ski resort Eagle Point up at 10,000 feet. If you don't know what the Mountain Archery Fest is, it's a lot like a total archery challenge where they set up 20 to 25 3D targets. And 3D targets are targets that are molded out of foam that are meant to look like a deer, an elk, a turkey, a bear, a bobcat, a lion, whatever it might be. And they have them at different distances, and you shoot. And I had to switch up some of my equipment for this, the way I had it set up for what I was doing for some indoor competition for the outdoor, because we'll have some longer shots. I understand the class that I'm going to shoot in on Saturday, I'll get into that a little bit more, is anywhere from 3 yards is the closest to 65 is the furthest, which shouldn't be that big of a deal. I've got my bow dialed pretty good right out to 70 right now, and it should be able to shoot out to 100 with the setup I've got. But I'm looking forward to that. They are going to have an opportunity for every archer. You pay like $5, and I don't know how many shots you get, but you have to shoot at a target and hit a ring about that big at 100 yards, and you get a chance to win cash prizes and get your name put in a raffle. Now, this one that I'm going to is called the Mountain Archery Fest, and it's the first time they're going to have it right here in Beaver, Utah, which is pretty exciting because it's just in our backyard. But the Total Archery Challenge shoots that are just like this and originated and started first. Those, if you hit those long targets, 100-yard targets at a little, 4-inch diameter bullseye, your name gets put in the hat, and they draw for a brand new Toyota truck. I mean, it's pretty. I'm not sure what the prizes will be up here, but I'm excited about that. So I decided I was going to change my setup, and I figured I'd go over that just in case somebody else is interested in doing some of those. So what I was, move some of this stuff out of here. What I was shooting was my or what I'm going to take up there is my PSC Super Focus. And I had this set up for indoors, shooting these really, really fat arrows with big, long vanes and super twisty helical, meaning the vanes really wrap around, really get that thing spinning, because we only shoot at 20 yards indoors, and these big fat arrows are perfect for that. But when we're going out in the mountain, you don't want big vanes, you don't want big fat arrows, and you don't want a heavy setup. You want something that can cut through the wind and not drift. You want something that the vanes won't slow it down. Out to farther distances, these big long vanes like this, they will actually slow, like a parachute dragging behind that arrow, and it'll slow it way down. So I decided I wanted to run these little arrows. These are Black Eagle impact arrows. These are Black Eagle arrows. These are the X impacts, and they are 250 spine. They are super skinny, like 0.166. I ended up putting the top hat tool steel point in it, and I think it's only 75 or 80 grains. The fletching on the back is knock-on, or AAE. It's the dinky little, these things are only 1 3/4 inches, if that, but they're like, boy, they're barely 3/8 of an inch tall, and I did a 3 fletch, and then I did a knock pin and a knock. And that way, if somebody else hits my arrow and won't destroy my arrow, it should just bust the end of that. But this whole arrow setup is only 375 grains. So I went from a super fat arrow to a super skinny arrow. And as a result, some things on my bow changed. My rest, bring this in, my rest is this blade right here. With the fat arrow, it stuck up higher. When I went to the skinny arrow, it sat down, which made my center shot kind of go downhill. So I had to do some things to get my arrow shooting straight out so it would paper tune. I had to adjust my rest. I actually had to raise it up. I only raised it up about 1/8 of an inch, I think was total is all I had to do. But then I had to re-sight in all my sight tape because this was only sighted in for 20 yards. But I had to get a 20, a 30, a 40, a 50, a 60, and a 70 and make sure that all of those sight marks are set. Now I want to, let me see how I can best do this. I want to show you my scope setup, my sight setup, because I'm going to do something a little bit different than some folks. I want to get this bow out of the way here so I don't bump it over. I've got it dialed in really good right now. I'd hate to do something stupid for a video. Knock it over. If you can see that, I've got a round circle. And that's because that's what I was using for target. Some guys like a dot, some guys like a pin, some guys like a circle with a dot in the middle. I am really getting comfortable with just a round circle. That's really good for about 30 yards and closer, maybe even 40. It just depends on the animal. But what I found is I went back to the 70-yard distances. This would get me close, but it didn't let me fine tune it. So I've got a Zebro's light on it, and what that allows me to do is light up a pin. And I don't know how well that'll show up, but I have a pin right in the middle. I took the time, I've got the round dot, and the pin set up right in the middle, and I can use that, and it's a blue fiber on it. I can use that to fine tune and get my farther shots. So this setup right here, I think is going to be a great combo for me to go ahead and get out to the far distances as well as the short distances, okay? I took my bow and I cranked it all the way in so it's shooting max pounds. It's only a 60-pound bow because it's not that speed is critical until you get into some winds. And up in the mountains, a lot of people don't realize you get mountain thermals, where you get air rising when the sun comes up and hits it, hot air rises, right? So you can be in shady sides of the mountain and the air's going down. And all of a sudden you can go over the next target and that sun will be in that section. And then that air will actually be coming up. And it's different than the actual breeze you feel. The thermals are invisible and you don't see them. So I want as much speed as I can so that when I'm shooting through there, I don't get drift and my arrow's not staying there. I'm not worried about crazy speed because I'm going to be shooting a hinge, and this is the Fulcrum Flex. I'm going to be shooting this with my PSC Super Focus. And so I hate pulling back huge poundage with this. I've done it. It's just, and you get used to it. I just don't like it. It really gets hard on my elbow. My elbow really gets inflamed and starts hurting. So this is for 60 pounds. This set's pretty good. So this is what I'm going to be using there. My arrows, the Black Eagle Impact, these weigh probably 375 grains total. And I never did chronograph them. But they are set. I put just a slight 2-degree left helical on the vane, and the reason I did that is because my bow automatically shoots the arrows out to the left, so it's set up that way. That's what I've got running for a class that I'm going to shoot on Saturday. That's my setup. Saturday I'm going to shoot in the pro class, and they send you out in groups at certain times. It starts right like 8:30 in the morning, whichever group you're in. You have to shoot 25 targets, and then they add up the scores. They got rings on the target, and and then other rings, and then a smaller ring, and you take your total score, and then they take the top 8 points leaders, and they shoot off Saturday night at 6 for the money and whatever else there is. So that's the setup I'm going to use for that. Now, I'm going to shoot on Friday as well with Brooke. And Brooke, we're going to go to one of the youth courses and have some fun there. We won't shoot out past 40 yards. And for that, I'm going to take and shoot my PSE Evoke. I'm gonna shoot this bow, and this bow is the same bow I'm gonna actually hunt with this year. And I decided to shoot the Easton Axis, the pro grade, the match grade, 5mm, and I'm shooting 100 grain tip on the end, and I'm shooting the bigger AAE vanes. These are the 2.88 lower profile. I'm shooting those with just a standard knock. And this is going to be my hunt setup, although obviously I'll have a broadhead on the end. But I've got this bow dialed for that. I've got some cool stabilizers on here. This is, I think it's crosswind or crossover or something, but it's 12 inches, not counting the weights. It's 12 inches, but you can take and loosen this up, and you can slide your stabilizer out to get more stability out front. You can loosen this one and get more stability out front, okay? And then you can also loosen this one, and you can actually make this thing a 30-inch stabilizer. That is a lot of stabilization. Right now I've got set 4, 8, I got about 9 ounces, 8.5, 9 ounces on the end of that. And then at the back, I've got another one, a shorter one. It's only 10 inches. And I've got 12 inches here. This one here will also come and slide out and give me total stability. And I'm thinking about putting this on my pro class setup, just because we're going to be hiking around the mountains. We're going to be going through, I mean, it's like 3 hours to get through the course at 10,000 feet, and I have to carry I'll be wearing a backpack, one of my hunting rigs, and I'll have food and water in there because we're out there so long, for both me and Brooke, and I'll be carrying my arrows and everything in that. And you're out there quite a ways. I bought the pack just to show you. I'm going to be running my XO. This is the K 2000, I think 2000 cubic inch. I'll have water and food and a rain jacket and a puffy jacket for both me and Brooke in there. I'll be carrying plenty of water for both of us. Our arrows actually go in here. And just because you never know when you're on the mountain, it seems like out here every afternoon the rain comes in, and it gets pretty wet. It can get windy and stuff like that. So we have to wear boots, good hiking boots. I'll probably be wearing some gaiters, some waterproof stretchy type pants, that water resistant stretchy type pants that I hunt in, just so that I can spend the afternoon up there. I'll be using my Swarovski give me 1042s for finding where the rings are on those 3D targets, so I know where to aim. And I'll be running my Leopold rangefinder, because not every rangefinder is the same, guys. If you're hunting with a buddy and he ranges a target for you, let's say you're at your house, you got your rangefinder, you set your 20, your 30, your 40, 50, 60, 70 yard pins, whatever it is, and you get your bow dialed, and then you're out hunting, and you got a partner or buddy out there, and in comes an elk or in comes a deer, and he ranges it, and he says, hey, it's 27 yards, and so you dial for 27, or put your 30 pin and aim a little low on there. I've got two rangefinders. One's a Leica, it's a high dollar one, and then this Leopold. So this is the one I bow hunt with, and they're about 3 yards off. 20s are, the 20 yard is right on, but when I start getting out to 30 and 40 and 50, I'm 3 yards off. I start getting out 60, 70, 80, it's at least 3 yards, maybe a hair more off. So I won't be trusting the marked yardage that they say those targets are up there. Not that I don't trust them. I just want to make sure it matches what my bow is set up for with my range. Now with that Evoke 35, when I go to shoot with Brooke for fun, I'm actually going to be shooting the Scott backspin hinge. And I'll be using this because this is what I'm going to hunt with. And that's the bow I'm going to hunt with. So it'll be a great opportunity to get out there and test some of my arrows up there, get in shape for hunting, do some hiking, and break off some of that rust. I've already did a little bit of turkey hunting and put about 4 or 5 miles on there. So it'll be good to get back out there. But this is the release I've decided to use for the hunting setup. So I'm looking forward to it. So I just wanted to go through, give you kind of a heads up on some things that change from an indoor to an outdoor setup, why I changed those things, and looking forward to hopefully doing good. I hope I can at least make the top 8 and get in the shoot off Saturday. There's a bunch of locals going up in there. I think there's a couple hundred people registered already. There'll probably end up being 300 or so total. So I'm getting excited for that, and I'll report back, good or bad, let you know how I did. All right, we'll see you.